Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. It is raining cats and dogs. My hair is wet from getting soaked coming in the office, and we might even hear a little thunder and lightning in the background. But that's just going to have to be what it has to be because we want to get this done and out to you today. So, as usual, this is our market update looking back at the year to date, comparing it to some other years. Basically, it's our update for October, but we're referencing September, uh, Athens, Clarke, and Oconee County. And here are the numbers that I really want to go over. You know, as I've alluded to before in a national market update and in some other ones, we started to see some things pick up later in September, but it still made September pretty slow, which is traditionally August and September are. But one of the things I was hopeful for in the fall was that we were going to see more listings come to market. And I have a little concerns that we're not. So if we have a strong October and November, hopefully that optimistic prediction will come true. But what I'm seeing right now, that is not the case. And that's really what I want to focus on. Instead of going over the prices, what I want to look at is new listings to market year to date. Right now, we are 2,152 to 2,115 in 2019. The reason I just skip over 2020 is because it's such an outlier with the 2 months that really slowed everything down. That puts us just slightly above 2019. But then what's real curious is come down here and look at the amount of homes sold. So we've got 1,819 2 years ago to almost, over that golly, almost 2,000, which is a 7.5% increase. So we've had less listings, about the same amount of listings, but way more many sales, and that's reflective of how many things are sold before they're published, and that's what we're seeing. Now let's come down here to just looking at the month of September versus the last 3 years. The total new listings. This is what's a little upsetting. 2019, we actually had more listings come to market in September than we did this year, 184 to 173. 2020, obviously, because we were coming back out of the lockdowns, 2020 was far above 2021, and that's a 6% difference, and the negative way. Now, under contract, we're actually above 2019 and getting close to 2020, so that's a good thing. That's something to feel good about. But what I also am not overly enthused with is the homes sold being just slightly above. And let me explain this. I'm cheering for a more normal market, and a more normal market is a healthy market. What we've had is an extremely strong sellers market that's created a lot of misnomers and what people talk about. That misnomer is that you can get a certain price for your house. In some cases, yes, you can. The other thing is that buyers are discouraged and feel like home value is going too high and that it's not affordable. And that's keeping people from owning a home. And owning a home can be just such an amazing part of your long term life and your plan for later and your family. If you're able to pass through a house that's paid for, that is a transformative thing for a family. So I pull for a healthy market. And when I'm not seeing that right now we don't have those listings coming, it makes me a little bit, I guess I won't say discouraged, but just disappointed. What I want to look here is this is residential listings coming to market over the last 3 years. And, as you can see, the red line represents 2021 and the blue line 2019. And the green is one I usually don't pay a lot of attention to because of how much the outlier it was. There's that V that we talk about. And this red line, as we've talked about in several updates, it came way back up from the lows of March. And then we started to trend a little bit above what we would have seen in 2019. But just as to what I was alluding to before, that blue line's 2019, and here's the red one. So we're actually now back to the listings are going down. It's a slower time of year. We might be able to stomach that just fine. But if we don't get some more listings, especially in the new year, we're going to have the exact same problems we saw again, which is going to be a very competitive market. Let's go look at the total amount of sales volume. So blue is 2019, very normal year. We're going to drive all the way up in May, then fall down into September. And then, of course, in 2021, we kind of saw a steady incline and we stayed above 2019, and we're still above it. But what's important to note is how much we came down in September. We're almost back into that line. You might interpret that as maybe that is a healthy market. And the truth is, we don't know what our markets do each new year until we get till about March and April. But just looking as an indicator, we were hopeful to see more listings than we had seen before. That's still possible because most of this activity happened in the second half of September. But early on, it is not the indicator we thought it would be. We recently did a survey of our agents just asking about what they saw in the market, current conditions. And that's sort of what I want to close on is kind of, we asked about 20 of our agents some questions, just real basic. And here are the results from our agent survey. Number one, what was the biggest concern in your view for sellers right now? Well, not a big surprise. As I talked about inventory, green, 82% of our agents said it was finding a place to move. I personally was one of these people in the red. I said pricing correctly because as the market has slowed to a more normal pace, we are finding that, while there are homes that are certainly getting that listing price and over at certain higher price points, we're seeing that, the pricing needs to be done really well. Of course, low appraisals have been a thing and remain a concern for many of the sellers when they go under contract. Second question, what's the biggest concern for buyers? Well, back again, there's blue and the trend I just talked about those lines going down. Most 70% of our agents said that it was housing supply. The rest said home prices. The two are so intertwined. And that's why I wanted to go over that we really want to pay attention to listings. That's going to tell us demand is currently down as it should be, but we need to see listings continue to not drop. They need to at least plane off and then come back in the new year. And then hopefully we'll have a more normal real estate market. Last question, biggest factor driving our market. Well, this is where we had a lot of different answers. So 23% said low supply. I don't know how low supply drives the market. Maybe that question was misunderstood. 29%, and this is where I fell as my answer, high demand. We've seen more people trying to move to this area than we've ever seen since 2004, all going on 20 years. The other thing is the interest rates have allowed people to say, I'm going to sell this house, and then I'm going to take my equity and I'm going to step up into a better home. Interest rates, just as I was alluding to, and need for more space is a pretty big factor. And the red and the purple here, they go hand in hand. Buyers relocating to Athens. Never seen it before, and the ways we're seeing now. As usual, we want to be a resource for you even when you're not in the middle of a transaction. Visit our website, 5mrealty.com. Maybe you're watching it right now. But if you have questions, you want questions about your house or questions about getting started with a plan to go to the buy, let us know. Have a great week. Pardon the wet hair, and we'll be here if you need us to answer any questions. Have a great week.